I want to talk to you about that person at work that seems to be in the way of your promotion or of your advancement. We usually tend to find some people who just drain all of our energy, with whom we just create this toxic dynamic, this negative pattern, and no matter what we do, things not only do not change, but they seem to get worse, and we just don't see a way out of this. Now, I bring you good news because there is a way to transcend this. The problem is that we actually keep running away from these people and these events and these circumstances instead of understanding them and transcending them, which is what we are going to do today. So, if you have a toxic dynamic with someone at work or personally, but this video is careers oriented. If you have a toxic dynamic with someone, I'm going to help you transcend it. So let us begin. Identify the person who is killing you at work, that you are really like fed up with the energy, with the dynamic, with everything that's going on, and you just really want it to end. And sometimes we just see the ways out of this are very catastrophic, but that's not the truth, and I'm going to tell you how to transcend it. So identify this person, and let's go into the fact of what this person does. So first step is to understand what is the behavior that triggers you so much. So if you have someone with whom you have a toxic dynamic, they do something. That action, that behavior, drop the judgment out of it. That action, that behavior means something to you. So identify first the person and now the behavior. What does this person do exactly that without the judgment? What is the behavior? Do they for example, they jump into work without being assigned, which means they are proactive, they don't follow directions. What is it that they do exactly? So describe the behavior of what they do. And now the third step. So first identify the person, second identify the behavior, third identify the emotion. Now, the emotion is what really sets all of this pattern in a repetitive pattern. So just take the emotion and feel it in your body. What is it that you feel? Where do you feel it? And what is it saying? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Is it like sadness? What is it that it brings to you? Is it unfairness? Understand what it is and understand where it is. An emotion is a physical sensation in your body. So understand where do you feel it. Is it in your heart? And is it like pushing you? Or is it hollow? Is it in your stomach? Where is it exactly? Because you see, this is the emotion we are running away from. We want to run away from this emotion. We want to run away from this person because of what it makes us feel. Now, I'm going to explain to you that you have associated a lesson to this emotion and to this behavior. Sorry, some construction just started outside in the garden. Please bear with me. So, whatever this action this person did is a conflict with whom you are. Because if I now ask you to go to the fourth step, which is to describe what is the opposite behavior of this person, and you write it down, you will understand that you are highly identified with the opposite of what this person does. And that's why the trigger is so high, because this person is challenging, is doing the exact opposite of whom you have become. Because this behavior, that you just wrote down, which is the opposite of what this person does, is not only a behavior for you, it's a value. It's how you've grown, it's whom you've become, and this is how you have learned in your childhood how to gain value, how to be valuable, how to be loved. So, when we have a huge trigger in our lives with someone, it just means that this person is demonstrating the other side of a duality that we deny. Imagine a duality, write a line, and you have the follower and the leader, strong and weak. They are exactly the same spectrum, exactly the same, but one is 0 and another is 100. And when we have a huge trigger with someone, it means we are on opposite sides of the spectrum. Oops. This person, for example, let's say a person who always follows rules and a person who never follows rules and orders. This is very common in the workplace. You have someone who just like, I don't care, and they're a direct report and they just go on with their lives. They book meetings with whomever they want. They respond to no one. And then you have on the other side a boss who really follows through procedure, who does all the performance appraisals, who is really thorough. And this is the worst combination that there can be, and it's actually so common, right? But there are many more. Let's focus on this so I have an example. So you see, when you describe the behavior of this person that triggers you so much, the opposite of that behavior for you is what you have learned. It's the way people should be. You have learned that, and you have denied for yourself the behavior of this person. You have associated with it so much pain that you judge it very harshly. How does the subconscious mind does this? Imagine you at one point in life you did something like this person did. The pain you've gotten was so much and so strong that your ego tells you, I'm never going to go through this pain again. So I will never do this behavior again in my life. Poof, out, shadow. And we become the exact opposite of that person. To survive, to be loved, to be worthy. The thing is that all the behaviors are needed if they are done with an intention of love and not fear. So we sometimes need to lead and sometimes we need to follow. Sometimes we need to be aggressive, sometimes we need to be passive. It's the duality, and we need to be free to choose that duality. What this person is showing you is what you deny in yourself. And as hard as it may be, the lesson here to transcend it is that you must integrate that energy. And now you're saying, what? How is it possible? I don't want to do that. I hate those kinds of people. They drive me mad and they are doing this. The judgment. See, you are not saying the behavior, you are saying the judgment. You are saying because they book a meeting without informing me, they are careless, they are reckless, they are. So there's a lot of judgment on the action because this is what you've learned. But I'll show you now how important it is for you to integrate it. Now, I want you to think of a time in your life that was really hard, professionally, because that's the setting we are speaking about. Think of a time in your life where you had a really hard time, like something that was difficult for you, very difficult to overcome at that moment. Now, I want you to understand how important this integration is of the duality with this question. If at that time you would have displayed a spoonful, a bit, some type of the behavior of the person that triggers you so much now, how that situation have developed. So, if in that moment that was difficult, if instead of acting the way you did, you would have acted in the way that this person that triggers you so much acts, what would have been the outcome? and the outcome would have been better for yourself. The outcome would have allowed you expansion, not limitation. It would have allowed you to progress and not stop and stagnate. So you see, the spectrum, it's never good or bad, as long as it's made out of love. Sometimes we need to be on the other side. And there's nothing wrong with what those people are doing. The fact is that they are just mirroring, they are just showing us what we deny in ourselves. And if we deny something in our lives, we are stuck in a duality. We cannot get out of that duality. So imagine if you are always thorough following rules, you deny just doing things and following your instinct and just moving forward. But we have to do both. Sometimes we will follow rules, sometimes we will follow our instinct, and sometimes we'll go with our gut. And so many things have been done and well like that. But the big difference is doing it out of fear of love versus out of fear. We must do things out of love. So if you think that you are stuck in, no, always following my gut feeling and whatever I think and I don't care about the rules, you are acting out of fear, because rules are there to support us. But the people who always follow their gut, they will be triggered by people who follow rules. So you see, as much as you trigger others, others will be triggered by you, because unfortunately we spend most of our lives living out of fear. But we must integrate the energy of the duality, of the full spectrum, and allow ourselves to become whole. So we then transcend it and we no longer are triggered. Or will we attract to our lives people with that shadow because we have integrated it and transcended it? That's how you transcend a big shadow, big trigger, someone in your work or in your life that is just killing you. It's because you are lacking the integration of that behavior out of love. Because the fear that you have, if you were to do that, is so strong because it relates to the pain you have learned in your childhood. It is a wrong lesson. You have associated way too much pain with a behavior, and that has determined whom you've become in life. And as much as this part of you has brought you many things in your life, I'm sure, and if I ask you to write down all the things that it has brought you, it has also limited in some areas of your life, in some tough situations. And that's why you must integrate this energy out of love, so then you are free to choose. So how do you integrate this energy out of love? If you are watching this video, it means that you are currently being triggered strongly by someone, which means that the action is available to you, because the action to transcend is always available to us at the present moment without us needing to do anything else. Right now, in this moment, you can transcend this by integrating this energy. How do you do it? Take a situation in your life with this person or with another person that is triggering you in the same sense, and take a spoonful of that same behavior that this person is demonstrating towards you. Take that action that you would not do. For example, let's take the example I was talking about. Imagine someone who always follows through the books and etc. and never goes with their gut feeling. They will tend to not voice their opinions if they differ from the group, for example. So imagine that someone who just says whatever they want and just follows their gut and just goes with the flow, right? If it's out of love, it's great. If it's out of fear, not so much. So imagine you are in a meeting and you will just withdraw from doing that because you don't want to seem not trustworthy, dependable, etc. So just take that a step further and voice your opinion in a way that is safe for you and that you don't compromise anything. But you must integrate the energy, and only you know if you take a spoonful or a bucket or a very tiny grain of salt. The important thing is that you do it so you can drop the judgment of that you have towards this behavior. because it is not the truth, it is not real. The judgment you have over the behavior has to do with your personal pain. And that's why you have, for example, people who are complete opposites and they are so successful in complete opposite behaviors. It's because they're doing it out of love. So if you are in a situation that's triggering you a lot, you are you are acting out of fear, because you see that behavior, you feel that emotion, and you have a reaction to stop that emotion, to stop feeling that, to stop that from happening. That's an overcompensating behavior that you must stop by instead integrating the energy that you are avoiding and doing it out of love. Why is it so important that you do this exercise? It's because we tend to think that whatever we want, this is in the way of it. This shadow, this person, this trigger, this circumstance, this toxic dynamic is in the way. So we do everything outside, so we avoid this, and we want to progress in our careers, we want to become leaders, we want to do all of that. And we think that because of this situation we can't. So we keep avoiding it. But it's exactly the opposite. This situation is what will take us to the next level. It's what's going to take us to creating our vision, to what we most want. And we tend to think that this is what's in the way, and it's because of this that we don't get it. And in a way, it's true. But it has to be through this learning, through this process, through this person who is showing you a part of you that we see as a shadow, that is in fact gold, that is diamond, that is light, that must come out. A part of you that must emerge out of love so that you can move on to the next level. That's what's stopping you. It's not the person who's stopping you, the person is showing you the way. And that's why it's imperative, if you want to get to your next level in your career, that you understand the lesson that this person is bringing you, so that you understand what you have been denying. You give yourself permission to integrate this energy and this behavior out of love, and then transcend to a new plane. Please do this, see how it works, and leave me your comments.